Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rupesh Pawar from Deso System. So I represent Deso System for SolidWorks India team for enterprise products. So let us wait for 1 or 2 minutes. I can see some participants are still joining. Yeah, I think we can start now. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to the today's presentation on managing and collaborating design data and documentation with SolidWorks PDM. So myself, Rupesh Pawar from Deso System. I represent SolidWorks India team for enterprise products. So along with the Beacon India team, so we are presenting this session today on SolidWorks PDM. So in the process, if you have any questions, you can on the right side there is an option for questions. You can raise your questions there. So at the end of the session, we'll have a question and answer session, and we can have a detailed discussion thereafter. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, the agenda today is what are the challenges we face in manufacturing and engineering without a proper data management solution. We'll have a detailed discussion today on this topic. Followed by, we'll see what are different data management solutions. With an overview, we'll discuss how it can help you. And during the lockdown stage, like you are already started working and reaching your office, but there are some of our colleagues who are still not able to connect. So how they can connect remotely. So we'll see how SolidWorks PDM helps there. We'll have a small overview of PDM in action. Then we'll summarize for this topic. So currently, will see what are the challenges we are facing without a proper data management solution. So today we have challenges doing a proper routine backup, having a proper security of the data time to time, and we have lot of challenges and difficulties of finding right document at right time. Version control is always a problem when we are manually managing that file on a file data server with the help of IT. But then most of the time we face many issues when we are working on 3D type of data of SolidWorks, which have a relationship between their assemblies and drawings. So a lot of times we have that issue of missing references and issues in the assembly because the data is not properly managed without a data management solution. Okay, we also face challenges in managing and coordinating for doing change management process and connecting and collaborating with the cross functional teams. We are actually facing issues in having flexibility in our working and have a scalable approach and the ease of use of data management. So most of the time actually we spend on data management doing it manually rather than focusing our value time on productivity in design engineering and thinking better ideas. Okay, we also see today like how we can have a multi-user collaboration, and we'll see how we can have multiple databases we can collaborate and have a single source of truth as a common server. We will also see today how to manage across the project life cycle, and we'll see how we can have the document other than CAD data. We can also manage other type of documents, so that there are many compliance documents which has to be managed with various standards. So we'll see that, and then how we'll reuse existing CAD and non-CAD data in our complete process in our enterprise. So let's have a detailed look on it. So coming up, first challenge is backup and security. So today, when we are working in our offices, there is a lot of difficulty in doing a backup of our multiple desktops and laptops. Okay, so in this process, there are many issues while taking backup and security issues, which lead to data loss. Okay, so most of the time this data is not able to locate at the right time, and there is a lot of time spent in managing data and the data duplicacies. Moreover, we have a lot of time spent on searching important document. Today we have an option only to find a document on the file name. We do not have an add-on attributes or search fields with which we can actually find our engineering documents. So while doing so, we end up in searching multiple documents in multiple folders and in many computers of ours or of our colleagues and our cross-functional teams to get the right document at right time. So, as there is a research made on that, which says that a lot of time is actually spent on searching rather than doing our productive work. Okay, so in the process, we actually consume our productive time, and it becomes a lot of tedious work to find the right document at right time. When it comes to version control, the challenges which we face, like every day, at every point of time, there are multiple versions which are getting created, and by the time we reach the final design, which is approved and released to manufacturing. Okay, so in this process we lose out on important version and important revision, and then there is a issue down the line in manufacturing. So searching the required version is difficult and time consuming today without a proper document management solution. And most of the time, practically, like when I was working in the down the line in design and manufacturing 18 years back. So in that, I have seen like many of the time we used to do approval stamp on the hard copy that it is signed by the design head, and then we actually distribute all the copies to the relevant cross-functional teams, and we sometime forget to collect the older revision. Okay, and then at that time people get lot of issues in referring to different revisions on the floor. So that is a very big challenge in managing such things in the real life. So whenever we talk about change management, so in change management we have lot of revisions happening, and we do not have control of what all important things were discussed. So in the process, we actually start somewhere. There are many inputs taken by the cross-functional team members. We have many decisions coming up. There are many changes happening on the data. Okay, and in the transition, we miss out of all this information, and at the end, we end up of knowing missing out all this information, and there is nothing documented and registered at a common repository. Okay, at that point of time, it is very difficult to have a track on why this happened and who has approved this information and what has gone wrong. Okay, the change management is an important process which we have to take care and manage. So with having this data management tool, we can easily manage this with having a proper workflow processes. Okay, so today without lacking these processes, we are missing out of this. Next important challenge is about multi-user collaboration. Okay, so apart from mechanical engineering design, what we do in design department, there are various other contributors for our design today. Okay, so contributors like we have the CAE engineers who do analysis, we have piping engineers, we have electrical PCB engineers who work on the electronic side. Okay, so there are multiple type of engineers who are actually collaborating and adding value to our complete design process. So these are the different data we work in collaboration, and we store at a central data repository so that it can be managed properly and can be accessed at the right authorized person. So when we come up to the next type of challenge is compliance. Okay, when we say compliance, there are many documentation happening in the process, and in the process we have many processes to be captured, like APQP, and then we have FDA rules, and we have production part approval process, which captures all about our different approval processes, whether our product is sellable or it is manufacturable and it is accepted by the end customer. So all these processes are documented and reviewed and approved, and the process can be auditable. So in the manual process, a lot of things happen in audit, and then we miss out on important dates and documents and approvals which are actually captured manually, and then we do not have track of that. And then we have a lot of NCs, all that documentation process during audit, internal as well as external audit. So this particular thing, if we can capture in a proper product data management solution, which will have a complete tracing of the workflow and the document revisions and the complete approval and review processes captured, so that auditor actually can review and have approval, and we can avoid such unnecessary NCs in the process. Okay, so there are a lot many internal company standard documents also which can be also managed, and this is also a challenge today, doing it manually in a file server. There are other type of information which is a common library, which actually is a reusable file which we actually reuse, and these are our standard designs which are actually reused again and again in our assemblies. So there are many copies kept in individual machines, and there is a lot of duplication happening on individual machine. Okay, and then this data goes to the common file server. Again, there is a lot of issue in the assembly referencing, and then we are actually consuming a lot of data space also in the process. Okay, so in the real world challenge, everyone has to go through it. Okay, but then finding and again reusing data is the need of an hour, so that we can actually save a lot of time in this process. Okay, so we can also keep the data in a proper way in a central repository, so that my data is not scattered all around in multiple folders and in multiple machines across the organization in multiple user machine. We can also see today there are a lot of duplication exist in every machine, and we are actually end up with finding which is the right data which you want to use, because the file names are same in that case. Okay, and then definitely we are not able to locate the latest version, which is we have to take it forward, and then we end up in sometimes I have seen practically also, we end up in creating the data if we don't know that data is available in some colleague's machine or on some common file server. So we end up in creating the new data fresh, and directly you are actually spending time on creating new data, as well as we are actually duplicating the data for the enterprise. So both the things are actually not good for an enterprise. Okay, so to summarize about the challenges what we have discussed right now, so we have seen all these challenges in detail, which I have summarized again here. Okay, so I believe like we are also facing similar challenges in our organization if we are not having a proper data management solution in place. Okay, so with this I would like to open up a small poll for all of us. So we'll have this poll for 30 seconds. So please go for the poll. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for attending for this poll. So I can see in this poll, 80% of us who are joining this session are saying you are also facing similar type of challenges in your enterprise. Thank you for your feedback. I'll close this poll for now. Okay. So to overcome these challenges, we have to now we'll go through a solution from Dassault System SolidWorks. We have a SolidWorks PDM Professional. So this is a solution which is a right solution, which actually helps us to maintain the data right from the beginning. It has by giving right people right access, and we have access at the right time. Okay. So this SolidWorks PDM actually securely manages all our engineering data, CAD as well as non-CAD data. Okay. So on the right, you can see the folder structure, which actually we are browsing through a Windows Explorer, which we'll see in detail in a demo after during this presentation also. So just to give you an input on this, like we have a very rapid implementation approach for this particular solution, which will not take much time in implementing the solution. And this is a intuitive and easy to use solution, which we'll see when I'm presenting a live session for you in a short while now. So SolidWorks PDM solution is a solution which is a scalable solution. You can go start with SolidWorks PDM, which can manage your CAD data management as well as non-CAD data management as well as multi-CAD data management, which we'll discuss later. We have add-on tools to that known as SolidWorks PDM Manage also, which you can scale up going forward, which I'll give you more details what is Manage in the next slides going ahead. So these solutions actually help us to manage distributed design teams when we are actually working on the design process, NPI, NPD process, to manage our data throughout end to end, so that we do not miss out on any important information, and we are managing our data in a much better fashion, in a much secured way. Okay. We can actually engage our external suppliers and vendors also to participate, so that we can actually provide access to them if required, and they can also collaborate to that particular project. Okay, so next topic is about how we can access remotely. Okay, so today, like we have seen, the scenario is like we are in the unlock stage. We are unlock stage in unlock 3.0, wherein we can see industries are gradually opening up. We are going to office slowly. Okay, but at same time, we can see we are not allowed to go 100% to our office. There are some few colleagues who are still operating from home, like today I am operating from home in Mumbai. Okay, so these are the challenges we are also facing now. So SolidWorks PDM not only helps you to work in your company domain when you are in office, in the office premises, but it also helps you to connect remotely through VPN connection. In case your IT company can provide you a virtual private network, this is VPN. So this actually helps you to connect you actually come into the domain, and since you are into domain, you can connect with SolidWorks PDM if you want to connect from your home or any remote place, in case you're not able to go to office. Okay, so this can be accessed remotely. So engineering data can be accessed, non-CAD data can be accessed. You can actually transfer the data from server to the client using internet via VPN. Okay, all stakeholders will have access to the common data, depending on the access policy or the role what we are defining in SolidWorks PDM. The users will continue to have the access, and then we can actually collaborate while working remotely also. So this is an add-on thing which will help you even when your few team members who are working remotely. Okay, there are other tools of working remotely which I'll detail out in the next slides. Okay, other than VPN, there are other options of connecting through internet. So this is a small glimpse of technical details. If we have ladies and gentlemen today from the IT side who are interested, so these are the port which we have to provide access in our Windows firewall, which will help us to connect the client and the server database and the SNL server for licensing, so that users can connect remotely. Okay, so let me run for the next poll. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, a quick poll for 30 seconds to just understand from you, like, what are the most critical challenges you are facing in your organization with your team as of today. Please participate. So this poll will be open for another 10 seconds. Thank you. So I'm closing this poll now. So I can see like 38% of us are saying like we have a challenge in managing design data and the approval process, and 50% of our attendees are saying like we have all the above issues faced. Okay, I'll close this poll now. Thank you for inputs. So with this, it is helping me to take you forward to a small overview and a demo of a data. So today I'm going to showcase you a mountain scooter data set. So the snapshot you are looking on screen is a drive train for that mountain scooter. So let me go take you through a detailed demo. Okay. So when I want to work on SolidWorks PDM. So SolidWorks PDM actually works on Windows interface. So right now I am into Windows Explorer. Okay. So in Windows Explorer, I have icon to log in. So right today I'm using a remote server. I'm working from Mumbai. So I am using a remote server world so that I can connect remotely. So I can log into that server. So to showcase you, I am logging as a project manager. So Dave is a project manager who is logging from a machine. Okay. So once login, I can open the server location, and in the server location, I can see I have access to 3 different folders. Okay. So this can be accessed through my Windows. So you can see on the left, I can actually see the different folder structure the way we see in my Windows Explorer. So we are actually familiar with Windows Explorer. So people who are new to SolidWorks PDM, there is a very short learning curve for them. So there is no uh, 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 we can say a detailed technical training is required. It is a very easy to use interface. So very quickly you can get into SolidWorks PDM and start working. So very short learning cycle. Okay, that is a benefit for PDM. So you can see here I can have different design projects to be created. I can right click and I can create new documents, or I can create new projects from template. Okay, so I can select from here and I can select different templates to use from. So I can select a few template configuration and I can create a new project. Okay, so this is how simply I can create a new project. Okay, likewise I can also create new documents. Let us say I go through a particular project. So when I say I have created a project, it is not only creates a folder, it also creates subfolders and documents which are prerequisite or predefined when an admin creates that particular template. Okay, so this is a simple way admin actually can create, and it is a configurable thing out of the box. Yeah, so let me go through a project. Okay, so as a project manager, I'll go to a project and I can see in that project there is an assembly. So this assembly, I can within the Windows Explorer, I can preview the assembly. I can zoom in, zoom out, and rotate the assembly to just have a look on complete drivetrain. In the process, I can also see write the complete data attribute for that particular CAD data in the Windows Explorer. This particular data we are able to see because of e-drawings functionality. Okay, it is a e viewer. So I can see the CAD data, card data attributes, wherein I can see there are certain various attributes which we have mapped. We can see further other attributes on the tab. Okay, we can also see the life cycle state right now. What it is showing, it is under editing. Okay, we can also see the version history of that particular data. For that BOM, I can also see a complete bill of material. Yeah, and in bill of material I can see complete all different columns related to the name, part number. We can see the description and the quantity of that components. Okay, we can also see on the right, I can save that bill of material. uh, okay, I can also export that bill of material into XML or a CSV file format so that it can be opened in Excel, but and I can share it to the down the line to the manufacturing or any other cross-functional team in case they want that output, or I can provide them access to PDM to have a view. Okay, in the process I can see for this assembly, I can see there are some parts which are having nomenclature which is not in the same nomenclature which my other parts are having in the numbering logic. So in the process, what I can do is I can go to any component. Okay, and I can actually rename that in the Windows interface itself. I need not to open that data in my SolidWorks CAD. Okay, so what I can do is I can say this is the number which I want to maintain for file also, so I can quickly rename that file. Okay, so this is how I have quickly renamed that file, which will not disturb your assembly. Otherwise, in the process, when we actually do such things in a folder, they create a lot of issues in your Windows. And then when you're trying to open that assembly, you lost all references for that particular assembly. Okay, that's very big challenge when you without a PDM solution. So PDM actually understands and maintains the logical IDs in the backend and maintains the relationship. So if I go back to that assembly and I can see the files names are now modified and the complete mod structure is still intact. I can still see the preview and the assembly is intact. Okay. I can also see what all it contains for that assembly, and in case if it is where used, I can also see that detailed information down the line. Another important information I can see here is if I go to the components and I see the view in detail, I can see there are certain components. Let me take this column. I can actually drag and drop this. So what I will do is I want to move this type column to some other position, and then I will filter it, and I can see there are certain items which are purchased items. Okay, so I feel like these are purchased items and the common items which should be also usable in other projects and libraries. So what I can do is I can quickly select few of them purchase items. I can remove from here. So I'll check the simple Windows operation cut, and I can keep it in my library. So library is somewhere outside, so I'll go to my main folder and I can move it to my library. There is some lag for me. Okay, so next we'll see as a project manager, what I will do is I will go to a project. Okay, and I can quickly
Hello,
yes.
Rupesh.
I'm audible
No, you were not audible for say 2 minutes.
for 2 minutes. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was 2 minutes back. What I was trying to show you is like in documentation, if I am trying to move any files from CAD, okay. So in case you have any documents you want to move, so you can directly copy that files and move that files to other folder. So that is a simple cut and paste type of thing. Okay, so that is a challenge today when you don't have PDM. That was I was discussing 10 minutes back. Yeah, so I'll again go back to the document which I was trying to create. So I recently created a document for engineering change. Okay, so for this document I can see this is a document created by me as a project manager. Okay, I can see this. I can also see the data card information for my document. I can see the revision and the contains file. So in this process what I'll do is first I will check in this particular document so that it is there on my common server. Okay, so this ECN I have created to reduce material or lighten weight for sprocket. Yeah, so this is my actually activity which I'm going to do for my data. So let me check in this document. So in the process what I will also do is I will again open a separate explorer. Okay, in my separate explorer what I will try to do is as a same user, as a project manager, I will locate uh, some related CAD sub assembly which we want to work further. Okay, so when it comes to search, we have like I can quickly search here or we can have a detailed search here. Okay, so this is detailed search. Actually I can also search on description. Okay, I can also search on detailed information in which I want to look for. I can look for information on card. Okay, I can also look for different variables if at all I want to search with and or options. I can see who all have checked in or checked out with the reference of the user, versioning of the data with specific to that version. In case you want to also locate data which are the files which are on that particular workflow state, you can also locate such information quickly so that you can file all the information which is specific to that particular lifecycle state. Okay, likewise on label and content. Okay, so right now what I will do is I'll quickly search for an information wherein I'm looking for a sub assembly and the sub assembly drawing. So this is a sub assembly and the sub drawing which I'm looking for. Okay, so I quickly have a preview in my drawings. can see the subassembly 3D also, where I work. And this process is going to work on that sprocket, which is going to be modified in the process. So what I will do is I will copy this particular uh, drawing. Let me quickly copy this. Okay, and in other folder we have this document where I will check out this document first. Okay, and I want to link this CAD data to that document. So I will say paste as reference. So I will paste that document as a reference to my file. Okay, and then I will check in this particular document. So when I'm trying to check in, PDM automatically understand for that document I have a reference drawing, and that drawing in turn has a linkage between the assembly and its related sub-assembly and parts. Okay. Next, what I want to do is I want engineering team to work on this process further in for the ECN to modify that sprocket to lighten the weight. So what I will do is, as a project manager, I will change the life cycle state and I will say send to engineering. Okay. While doing so, what I will do is I will also mark that to my design engineer Mike, so that he should receive a notification email and he can start working. So I will ask him, please work on this. Okay, please check for optimizing sprocket weight. Yeah, let me complete this. So with this, the work of the project manager, he is moving that work to design engineering team. So let me log out of this role. So there is a option to log out from here. So I am logging out from project manager, and then I will log in now with engineer. Okay, so let me log in now with an engineer again. Okay, so we are loading to the same remote world. So this time we are logging with Mike as an engineer. So moment we are logging with Mike as an engineer, if I go to the same server, okay, the very first thing I can see here a notification for Mike. See, if I go to the inbox, so I can see for Mike there is a notification received with a music you have heard maybe. Okay, so this shows like there is a document received where I am asking to please check for optimizing the sprocket weight. Okay, there is a link for the folder and the document, which document it mentions. So Mike, what he does is he clicks on the location to view that file. So the design engineer automatically is taken to that file in the system, so he don't have to manually search that file. Okay, and then he is like directly taken to that file, and in that he can see that file contains what it contains. It contains the CAD data which he has to work on. Okay, so what he does is he launches SolidWorks and he opens that data. Okay, so either he can directly open from there or he can browse it from here. So in the process, what he will do is he want to open that assembly. So you can directly launch it from here. So open in SolidWorks. So the data will be opened here. So let me open that assembly file with the same user, but this is not my server. Yeah. So I want to check out drawing. I want to check out the assembly, and I want to also check out the part which I want to modify. So these are the three things I have to check out, which are going to modify in the process. Okay, so in this process what I'm going to do is this is which I want to work on. Okay, So let me quickly open that sprocket. Okay, so this is my sprocket part. It is already checked out. Yeah. So what Mike does is he reviews the part, then he tries different options. Like today, if he tries and see, okay, you want to evaluate and check for the mass properties. So right now the mass property can see there is a mass of 0.85 pound. So what he does is he try to remove some material. So let me quickly add some remove material option. So for that, what I will do is let me quickly remove this, or rather I will suppress this particular information. Okay, and I want to have this particular round hole slots. So let's see what is the new change. So Mike sees as an engineer, earlier the property says mass was 0.85, so now the property is 0.66. Okay, so it has improved. So Mike further says, okay, let me check with additional information with the new type of design. So he checked for additional cutouts, the inner slot shape, and he again measured the property and see the mass has further gone down to 0.99 pounds. So he finds this is the best design to go ahead, and then he says, okay, let us have this as my final design. Okay, and then he saves this information. So while doing so, what he will do is he will save this particular information, and will check in this to my server. Okay, so he'll put modifications done. Please check and review. Yeah, so we will do that. Yeah. So this data goes in, and then further what Mike does is he go and he will that particular drawing. And then what he wants to do is he wants to further check in the complete drawing, because it is going to modify. Okay, so I have checked in that. So all modifications to go together. So what I'll do is I will Mike will actually check in the complete information. So he will check in that drawing. Yeah. So while checking in, so let us say he checks in that information. Okay. So for this exercise, let us say I'll show you here. So we'll check in this particular modification which we have done for this sprocket. Okay. So that modification is done, and yeah, and then next what he does is he wants to change the life cycle state, and he will move it further to submit for approval, so that when he is moving for submit for approval, he will mark to the project manager Dave, so that project manager can review and check. Yeah, so he will say review and approve. Okay, so this is how the process will go further in the complete change management cycle, and the user is actually working in the his own user interface. Yeah. So coming back to our presentation today, we have seen this particular overview. So apart from these functionalities, what we have seen today in SolidWorks PDM, we can actually do not only SolidWorks CAD data management, we can also do other CAD data managements like AutoCAD, Inventor, Creo, which is earlier PTC Pro-E, and Solid Edge. We can also manage SolidWorks, Microsoft Office documents, which we have seen in the demo also. Okay, so this particular application is actually supporting multicad and non-CAD packages also. So as said earlier, this SolidWorks PDM actually is having a QSP program, which will say quick implementation, quick start program, wherein we can actually use our predefined workflows and have a very short implementation curve, so that the process you can see on the right, where we can say the process is initiated, people have worked on that data, somebody has reviewed that data, and finally it come for an approval, which is further approved and released, and there is a notification in the process received in the SolidWorks PDM notification box as well as on email. And then we can also convert our SolidWorks drawings into PDF using the task functionality in SolidWorks PDM. We can also get outputs for the BOM in XML and CSV, which can be used down the line for other departments to review, as well as for ERP integration. Okay, so the for remote access, as we have discussed in the few minutes earlier, like we have a VPN access, but at most of the time, in case our company is not having an option of having VPN access, so we can have additional information or additional way of having remote access of PDM by having a static IP deployed on the server, so that because of that I can actually access my PDM data on my any mobile device on any browser. Okay, so it is browser independent application, can be browsed from any browser. In that case, it works on any mobile and tab, and it is a true PDM on the go to connect with at any point of time. So this is how it looks like in my mobile when I'm browsing from mobile. Okay, so with the help of static IP, if your server is hosted publicly, so on static IP we can actually browse PDM through internet connection on mobile and tabs. Okay, so you can have access and quickly get approvals without keeping the processes on hold. So let's have a look on this particular process. So this is a mobile where you can see on my mobile I can browse the link. I can log in with the mic as an engineer, and I can quickly browse and see different projects in my server. I can use keypad on my mobile and key in file which we are touching. We can also open that 3D CAD file because of the benefit of e-drawing viewer. So e-drawing viewer helps us to open that file. We can quickly have some markups and ideas thought on that data directly on mobile. We can quickly add some markup text on that particular mobile interface itself in the browser. Okay, and we can have markups with proper arrows and text mentioned on it. With this we can actually stage and put a comment to my document, and we can promote that document or my engineering CAD data to the next stage of approval. Yeah, so this is a way where, like, we can actually access the data on the go on mobile also using internet once your server is hosted on static IP. Yeah, so these are the different ways we have discussed today. So we have seen today like different PDM capabilities, like the granular security, wherein actually everybody authenticate user has a login ID password to access the server. We have powerful searching tools which we can search all our metadata attributes, not just on the file name. We can search on different metadata attributes and locate the file on the version and the lifecycle stage also. We can also have a solution for replication in case our organizations are remotely placed in different geographical locations, so that we can sync the different world data at a particular planned time. We can either use out of the box standard workflows for SolidWorks PDM to quickly start with, and then if case you want to have any specific process to be mapped by creating a separate workflow, that can be also managed in PDM Professional. Yeah, we are having a data connected so that people are working in a collaborative way. Solutions can be scalable. We can start with PDM Professional. Going forward, we can have add-on licenses and add-on modules of SolidWorks like manage, which I'm going to discuss now. This actually helps us to shorten our productivity curve going forward. So as I was discussing, add-on to SolidWorks PDM Professional, we have SolidWorks Manage as our advanced tool, which helps us to do different types of project management, resource planning, and the time spent, the time sheet maintained in the system, so that we can manage our resources. We can also manage our different engineering processes also in Manage. In SolidWorks Manage, we can do different types of BOM management as far as engineering and manufacturing BOM is concerned. Yeah, we can also maintain the different dashboards, reporting, so that the management can have a complete view of what actually is going on in the enterprise. So right now I am placed here few of our diversified customers across industry verticals. We have many other global and Indian customers. So this I have put for today's presentation. These are very specific to our India clients, which are in diversified industries, which will help us to understand they have using SolidWorks as well as SolidWorks PDM for their day-to-day data management activities. Yeah, so I think most of the logos you are already aware, like Emerson, Panasonic, and Thermex. Yeah? So I would like to see your logos here too going forward. To summarize our today's presentation, like we have seen how we can manage our data in a simplified way, whether it is a CAD data or a non-CAD data. So this will actually help us in reducing time to market. We have flexible workflows and built-in functionality with Windows Explorer, which will help us to have collaborative and concurrent engineering. We can have different ways of accessing, either you're working in office or working at home using VPN, or you can actually connecting over internet with a Web2 functionality, where we have a static IP hosted on the server, so that we can continuously work either from office or remotely from home or any other location. Yeah. So with this, I would quickly like to open my last poll for today. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your votes for this last poll for today, so that we can open up for question and answers. So this poll will be there for next 10 seconds. I think I'm on time, so we have still 6 minutes for Q&A. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for putting your valuable votes. So I'm closing this poll right away. So ladies and gentlemen, on the right, we have question and answer option, so wherein you can post your queries, so that we can take a few queries depending on our time we have today, in case you have any doubts. Post this session, I will try and connect with you one-to-one along with the Beacon team, and try and understand what challenges you are facing, and then we'll work together to resolve that challenges and take you through the PDM journey. So in case you have any doubts right away, you can put in the chat box on the right, so I can help you to answer. So there's one query asked like, can we access Vault in Web2 from any network, especially VPN, especially if VPN is not there? Okay, so Suyesh, this is asked by Suyesh. So Suyesh, to answer your query, like one way of accessing is like you are actually in the company and you are actually in the domain, and then you are accessing your server. Second way, like you are already aware and you are asking like VPN, you can connect through VPN your same Vault. And the third thing what you are trying to ask is, if you VPN is not there. Okay, so in case VPN is not there, still you can access Web2 Okay, so in case VPN is not there, you can actually have support from your IT department, wherein they can help you with the static IP. The static IP can be hosted on the PDM server, and since your static IP is hosted on PDM server, it is your server is publicly available to access. So in case you have login ID password and you have that URL, only then you can access from outside the domain from your mobile or or for any other machine for that case. So I hope Suyesh, my query is answered. So during this COVID situation, like this is a relevant question, and good Suyesh, you asked this question, so I'm happy to answer this. So this will help us to work remotely and continue our work effortlessly. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other questions, please let me know in case you have missed out anything. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think there are no queries in my inbox asked as of now. But in case you have any queries to post this session, you will receive a mail from the Beacon marketing team. Like you can respond to them, and we can connect one to one and discuss your challenges. So I will be more than happy to help you on resolving your challenges. So we'll jointly connect with you and discuss with you. Yeah. So good. So we are right on time. So it is almost 4 o'clock. So if we don't have any issues right away, so thank you for your precious time for attending this session. So we'll have similar sessions on a specific topic in case you are interested to have in common or anything you want to discuss for your specific organization. So we'll connect with you, and we can have such session one to one for you. Yeah. Thank you everybody for your time for today. Have a good day. Stay home, stay safe, stay connected. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Bye.